incredible film Paths of Glory, if you've ever seen that. He was a bartender in The Shining, and probably you'll remember him best as Mr. Tyrell in Blade Runner. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Turkel.
Thank you very much. Do I need this? Do you hear me? Would you with or without? With sound. To sound better? Yeah. Okay. How you all doing?
Good.
Whew. I thank you for that round of applause. The money comes, the money goes, the women comes and goes. Unfortunately, not that way. Unfortunately, the quality women come and everything is in a state of flux. But the one thing that I'll always take is the applause and the pleasure that I've given people. That knocks me out. So therefore, again, I thank you for the applause, and I bid you good night. Look, I'm going to talk about Stanley Kubrick, the most unique man I have ever met in my life. He changed my life, and when he died, I cried for a month. A week doesn't go by that I don't think of Stanley Kubrick. I never met him until we met in California to do the picture. I was told by my agent, Joe, there's a new outfit, Harrison Kubrick, they're doing a movie out here, go out and, okay. Hello, my name's Joseph Turkel, Stanley Kubrick. I said, thank you, Mr. Kubrick. He said, wait a second. Please, call me Stanley. For the years that we were together, and all the time I knew him, he interrupted everybody. Please, call me Stanley. They approached him with, Mr. Kubrick, please, call me Stanley. If you called him Stanley. He was that type of man, very quiet, never yelled to any excess, and he was quite a guy. So I went to the office. Mr. Turkel, I saw you in a picture called The Man Crazy. I liked it, and I'm making a movie out here. Would you like to be in it? It's a small plot, but I'm going to do other things. Little did I not. Okay, let me see the script. I looked at it. Yes, okay, fine. Thank you, Mr. Kubrick. Stanley, okay. Then I wanted to see what kind of a fellow he was. Where are you from? You from New York? He said, yeah. I said, whereabouts? He said, the Bronx. And then I tested him. I said, the Bronx, that's the low-rent neighborhood. He looked at me, smiled. Where are you from, Joe? I said, Brooklyn. He said, that's a no-rent neighborhood. True story. We both smiled. It was delightful. We both had a giggle. I did the picture, and it all went well. And on my last day, I was ready to leave, and I said, thank you, Stanley. And I walked over to give him a hug, and he tensed up. He didn't like to be touched in any way. I sensed that. He just backed away and he tightened up. So I walked over and shook his hand. Thank you very much, Stanley. I'm looking forward to you next. If you like what I did, fine. He was never a toucher. You know how you come over, you hug somebody in a congenial way? Yes, okay. Not him. I never saw him laugh with a button-busting burst with his head thrown back. He laughed, but always, it was a strange kind of laugh. It was not a giant, humorous laugh. It was just a nice, happy laugh, period, but nothing of any extravagance. Well, did well with the picture. That was his first killing. And about a year later, 2 years later actually, 55 to 57, he called Mr. Turkel. Hi, this is Jimmy Harris on Mr. Kubrick. Yes. He said, why don't you come on over to the office? We want to discuss taking to Europe with us on a picture called Paths of Glory. I didn't know anything about it. Okay, fine. We got over there. My agent, everything was good. We got over there, and it was Adolphe Menjou. I'll never forget this. Never. Adolphe Menjou, George McCready were in the first scene. If you saw Paths of Glory, the first scene was a choreograph walking. The two generals meeting, and the camera was moving this way. Monju was going this way. McCready was going this way. It was a very involved shot. I was in the back of the set. I didn't have to be there that day. I just wanted to see how Stanley Kubrick, this very nice young fellow from the Bronx, would handle two guys like this with the stature of Adolphe Monju and George McCready. And they started the scene again and again. 15, 16, 17. And every take Stanley would say, "Thank you, very good. Let's try it again." Now, when actors, after a break, a cut, the two actors, what do you think about that? Should I have moved? They're talking about the scene, how they work with each other. You understand? Stanley is back with the camera discussing other things. And this truly, actually happened. I could not believe it. This moment is worth the whole evening that we're spending here. Let's try it again. All of a sudden, Monju says, "Mr. Kubrick, how many times is this? 14? 15? What do you look for?" I mean, you keep saying, "Cut, print, let's do it again." What are you looking for? He said, "You're doing very well. Let's just try it again." "What do you mean, try it again?" "Mr. Kubrick, we've shot the son of a bitch 19 times. Mr. Kubrick, what the fuck is wrong with you? How much do you want?" And he was getting mad. And you can see the anger in Adolphe Monju. Please excuse me, children. If there's any children. But I mean, I have to tell the story the way it occurred for it to be real. And all of a sudden, Adolphe Monju starts doing this. How many fucking times are we going to do this? He's angry, you can see. And now you've heard the expression, you could hear a pin drop. Forget it. That was a Super Bowl. I mean, not only a pin drop, but everybody was motionless. The entire cast, and they just watching this. Stanley had a little mannerism. He didn't back up. He didn't move. And here's Monju again with blood in his eyes. Maybe it's that camera of yours, Mr. Kubrick. Fix the son of a bitch. We've done it 22 times. How many? I've lost count. Am I missing my spot? Is Mr. McCready missing his? Are we blowing dialogue? What the fuck do you want? And I'm talking about this. He was screaming at that moment. Whoa. I've never seen that before or since. And here's Stanley. Didn't move, didn't retreat when the Monju came at him. Finally, he stopped, and Stanley said, "You're doing very well, Mr. Monju. You're on your lines. You're not forgetting your lines. Mr. McCready is not forgetting his. He's on his spot. He's doing very well. Please, I ask you, I'm trying to do certain things. Let's try it one more time. All right, let's get the son of a bitch. But let this be the last." They do it again with the camera. Monju finally said, "Fine, cut, print it." And that was the end. 22 years later, I said, "Stanley, do you remember that?" When I went back to do The Shining, I had worked between Paths of Glory in 57 to The Shining in 79, about 23, 24 years. "Stanley, do you remember?" We were together one day, quietly. "Stanley, do you remember that scene when Monju nearly kicked your ass?" He said, "You were there, Joe?" I said, "I was in the back of the set. I couldn't believe it." "Let me ask you something, Stanley. Can I ask you, please, which shot did you use?" "That's none of your business, Joe. That's none of your business. If you ever want to talk to a director and find out what it is, what technique he's using regarding technical camera angles, lights, that's my business. You want to discuss the scene, the dialogue, you want to move this dialogue, take out that line, add this line, that's fine. Don't ever ask me that again. But since we know each other, I'll tell you." And he smiled. He said, "Joe, I was looking for something. It was too good. It was too perfect. I love surprises. You know I love surprises." It just so happened in that last take that Monju gave, the aggravation that he felt for me registered in his voice. And that was the take I used because it was different from that one to all the others. I Couldn't believe it. He said, now you know, don't ever ask the director that again. It was that very last take because Monty's voice was a little raspy. If you see the picture, you know the picture I'm talking about, that's it. Another time,